So welcome to Kyle's Pandemic Kitchen. For my recipe today, I'm going to make quick tuna noodle casserole. This is just like the one that your mom used to make at home. I make it with a little bit of more convenient stuff. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some milk or milk-like product. I use the Annie's white cheddar shells, a little bit of butter, some mushrooms, some cheese, tuna, some small peas. You're gonna need yourself something to bake in. You are going to need an oven set at 350. We'll talk more about that. You're gonna need a pot with which to cook the macaroni. Also, while cooking, it's important to stay well hydrated, so make sure you do that. And I'll be back in just a few moments. So here we are, pot full of water. I like to put a little bit of salt in there. Helps to bring down the boiling temperature of the water, get that water up to speed cooking. Let's turn it on, get it on high, get it going. While we're doing that, we're just gonna open up our tuna. We're also going to wash and chop our mushrooms, grate some cheese, get these boxes ready to go. So we've got the water on the stove, it is boiling. We have our mushrooms. You can use brown mushrooms, you can use baby portobellos, you can use white mushrooms, you can get them pre-sliced, you can slice them yourself, it's completely up to you. I've got about a pound of mushrooms here. I've got mushroom lover in the house, so as a result, I like to make this recipe extra mushroomy. When you're cutting them up, we're basically just gonna cut them up into small bite-sized pieces because what comes next is we're actually gonna saute them. So stand by and we'll be right back. All right, so our water's boiling and our pan is almost up to temperature. So to saute the mushrooms, I am going to take, I don't know, a couple tablespoons of butter, chuck that in the pan. Then I'm going to chuck the mushrooms straight into the pan. Once the mushrooms are in the pan, we're just going to give them a good healthy dose of pepper. Again, we've got a pepper lover in this house, so I like to put lots of pepper into this recipe. It's really up to you to play with it, but I would like to put a good amount of pepper on those. Now that we've got that happening, we have our water boiling. We're also going to chuck those in there while we're at it. Trusty wooden spoon. We're going to cook those until they're just past al dente. Now we're going to rip them out, send them through the strainer. Alright, so since you've been gone, I've done a couple things. First of all, I cleaned up my chopping board mess, mostly because my wife refuses to clean the kitchen, so I do it as I go. I have also canned and drained my tuna. My peas are ready to go. The pasta is done, so we're going to shut that off. Put it in the strainer, drain off all that water, and just kind of let that drain for a couple of moments. We're going to use that pot though, so hang on to that. Our mushrooms are pretty much done sauteing now. They've reduced down quite a bit. So again, we're just going to shut those off and leave those there. Next, you make macaroni and cheese. So basically follow the instructions as they're on your mac and cheese box. The only thing I do is I like the pasta a little creamier, so I'll add a little bit more milk and a little bit of butter to it as well. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so we're back, and at this point we've made our mac and cheese. You can see it's pretty soupy, right? So I doubled the milk going on in there. We're going to do a couple things at this point. While it's still nice and hot, we're going to throw in our shredded cheese. I like using getting the pre-shredded stuff. Just makes life a little bit easier. I'm going to put kind of 1.5, 2 good hands in there. We're going to mix that in. Next we're going to grab our mushrooms, which are on the stove, just kind of hanging out. We're going to dump those in as well. If there's any juice in the bottom of that pan, don't be afraid to get that out of there. That's where all the flavor happens. Once that's in there, just chuck that on the stove for now. Give that a stir in. Next, our peas. Again, some people like them, some people don't. It's up to you. I'm going to chuck probably 2, maybe 3 good handfuls in there. Gotta have something green in your meal, right? So, and then we're gonna grab our tuna, dump our tuna in. Now, at this point, your oven has been preheating, so it should be at 350 and ready to go. And here's the important thing. This is Pandemic Kitchen. We're not talking gourmet here. We're talking comfort food. This is what do you got in the cupboard, how are you gonna put it together, and how's it going to be delicious. So, sort yourselves out, figure that out, give it a good stir. Again, you've got some cheese already in there, which will be nice. You've got it nice and creamy. Next, once it's good and stirred, that tuna will, make sure you drain the tuna. A lot of times if you don't drain the tuna, it makes it too wet. It tastes a little too fishy. Look out, we got stuff flying. All right, so that goes in. Goes in baking dish. Don't bake in plastic. Again, we're not talking gourmet here, so we're not worried about whether this is top rack or bottom rack. It's really whatever works. We'll fire that in the oven and let that sit for 30 minutes at 350. In 30 minutes, we're going to pull that out, cheese the top. All right, so casserole's been in the oven at 350 degrees for the last 30 minutes. Let's pull it out, see how it's looking. Oh, blast of hot air to the face. Okay, so we've got it. It's looking pretty good. Nice and warm through, you can tell. At this point, we're going to cheese the top of it. Listen, this is not the time to go light on the cheese, friends. This is the time to layer it on there till you can't see it anymore. So, grab yourself some big handfuls. Yep, that's right. Cheese it up. This is Pandemic Kitchen. This is not a diet recipe. This is not a recipe you're gonna make if you're lactose intolerant. In fact, I'm gonna tell my loving wife to take 2 milk pills tonight. So, we're gonna fire this back in the oven for probably 20-25 minutes. See how it's looking. See you when it's done. All right, so tuna noodle casserole has been in the oven for another 20 minutes since we put the cheese on. Let's have a look. All right, so looking good, melty, bubbling through. Looks delicious. We're gonna let it cool down because right now it'll burn the top of your mouth off. And then I'm just gonna grab a fork and dive in. So again, thanks for joining me, Pandemic Kitchen. Make yourself a 2-minute video, show us what you got. If you're interested in this recipe, the link will be at the bottom of the screen. And I'll see you on campus.